Yo, 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 yo. Welcome back to another episode of Triple Threat Sportscast. We here today with a special guest. He's he's a three-sport athlete out of Westerville, Ohio. He's also all conference honors in football, all district, all conference recognition in football. He also finished with second all-time three-point shooting in school history. Hey, balling. Yes, sir. He also is the founder of Next Level Skills Basketball Academy, head coach of Valor Collegiate Academy. Coach Pope, man, y'all get up for Coach Pope tonight, man, please.
Oh,
Appreciate it. Thanks for having me, fellas.
man, for sure, man. It's
Yeah.
our pleasure, man.
Yes, sir. Man, how you doing tonight, Coach?
Doing good. It's been a week. Spring break. A lot of workouts. Been watching my own kids while I have the workouts and everything. So I'm excited for the weekend and excited for kids to go back to school. So
Yes, sir.
I know that's right.
yeah.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Coach, let's go ahead and get straight into it, man. You was a three-sport athlete out of Westerville, South High School. You played on the Hall of Fame coach, Coach Calo. Is that correct? Calo. Coach Calo, Ed Calo. And I just want to know how was that experience shape up your philosophy in coaching today?
Yeah, man. Like Coach Calo he's one of one. You know, he's one of those guys where, first of all, I think he was, before I even got to high school, he already been coaching for like 20 years. And then and he just retired last year. I just turned 37. So he coached forever. He hit the Hall of Fame before he even got done coaching.
Yes, sir.
But he's one of one. He's just one. He was one of those guys when you play for in high school. Like he taught the importance of never stop learning. I remember when I was a freshman or sophomore in high school, and he was taking classes, and like he had already won all these accolades, won all these games, these championships, and he was still taking classes on coaching techniques and coaching philosophies and all types of stuff. So like when you see somebody that's revered, like in their field, like still learning and stuff like that hits you as a teenager. Like just never be satisfied. So I learned a lot from him about the game. I learned a lot from him about life. Like Coach Calo, like when you go to Columbus, Ohio, and you say the Calo name, like you're talking about basketball royalty. So like it was an experience playing for him. Just grew a lot on and off the court. So yeah, that's my dog.
Sound like a Hall of Fame coach.
Yeah.
Let's give it up for Coach Calo.
Yeah.
Yes,
Yeah.
yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Coach Poe, what's going
What's going on, man?
And all right, man. Yeah, man, you got a nice lengthy resume there, man. And,
Try to.
yeah, man. I commend you for doing this for the kids, cause we stepped it up last year. Started it, to do it as well, man. Trying to get these kids exposure. We take this serious, man.
Mhm.
So, at what moment or experience made you realize that young athletes needed more than basketball training to succeed?
Yeah, I think there's a few different moments. I had my own moments as well. Coming up in high school and then getting to college and playing at Goshen, and when you're playing and you understand like the end of your career is coming, like you got to be prepared for it. And there's a lot of athletes that put their identity and what they do on a court and field. And the more that you're prepared for that to end, the better off you can be. So like there's just a lot of things that athletes have to deal with while they're playing and after they're playing. So it kind of just clicked in my head like we should probably start preparing for stuff like this. I have a lot of friends. My best friend played in the NFL. And he played in the NFL for 3 years and then went up to the CFL. I don't know how many years. He was up there for a while. But he just retired from playing, I think, 3 or 4 years ago. And me and him were talking about a month ago about like how hard it was for him to transition into civilian life. He's an athlete no more. So,
Yeah.
but yeah, I mean, it's just one of those things where you just see it. Also, when you're in it, you're just like, we need to start preparing. As athletes, you always talk about giving back because you always had mentors, older players that gave to you, and then they're always like, "Hey, I gave to you. Make sure you give to the players coming up after you." Right. Same thing with coaches. When you ask a lot of coaches, like, "Hey, why do you coach?" They're like, "Well, I had such a great coach, and he made this impact on me. I wanted to do the same thing for here, right?" So like, it's just one of those things. Once you go through an experience, or you see other people go through an experience, we want to pass it on to the generation coming up behind us, just to prepare them and help them out.
Love it, man.
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Hey, Coach Pope, it's Coach Daniel. Great to meet you, sir.
Nice to meet you too, man.
So I'm not sure if you're aware, but I'm from Cincinnati. I'm a Bearcat myself.
Yes, sir.
So you growing up near Columbus, first of all, did you grow up in a sports household? And secondly, were you forced to be a Buckeye?
Yes, I did grow up in a sports household. I think from the time I could walk, my dad put a basketball in my hand. I remember watching Cavs games when I was growing up with like Mark Price and Brad Daugherty and stuff like that. I remember
Larry Nance.
No, that's old school, isn't it?
Yeah.
Well, I'm trying to get these lights on outside on the porch.
Go ahead.
Do your thing.
We need that light.
That's hard.
Hey, Coach, we want the people to see you.
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
All of the
lights.
All of the lights.
All of the lights.
7-year-old can turn the lights on.
No, go ahead, Coach. Do your
No,
thing.
you
Do
good,
your
you
thing,
good.
Coach. We good, man. Hey, it's all about you and the kids, man. It's all good. I love that. It's authentic.
It's like my little ankle biter over there.
There we go. Back in action, baby.
Yeah. Yeah. So a lot of sports. It was weird because my dad's from Dayton, Ohio, and he's a big Cleveland fan. Cavs, Browns, and my mom's from Warren, which is Northeast Ohio, and she was a big Cincinnati fan, big Bengals fan, and Reds fan, all that type of stuff. So it was like kind of a house divided on Ohio sports. But yeah, we watched a lot of sports. Now, was I forced to be an Ohio State fan? Yeah.
You say, yeah, oh man.
When you grow up in the midst of Ohio State, like you have no choice but to be a fan, unless you just want to be just a rebel just to get attention. But when you grow up in the shadow of the horseshoe, and every Saturday, like there's no cars on the road because everybody's watching the game. Like we would always joke that like if you wanted to rob a bank, you rob the bank during the Ohio State game because nobody's coming after you.
Man, that's crazy.
Wow. All the attention, right? All the eyes on the Ohio State game.
Everything. No, there's nothing like Columbus on game day. So like I absolutely I loved it. Especially on the weekend on the game. Where everything was nuts, especially when the game was in Columbus. It was a great time. Just being a sports guy in Columbus growing up.
Nah, it's funny that you say that because I lived in Columbus myself for about maybe 2 years, and I don't remember a lot because I was a kid, but I do remember it was the street Martin Luther King Jr. that was right down the street from the recreational center that was close to the horseshoe. So, look, it sounds familiar, don't it?
Okay.
Yeah.
That's what's up, man. Yeah. Y'all just don't have no good quarterbacks that come out of there, but it's cool.
They just set up with good systems in the NFL.
Hold on, I got you, Bruce.
Shots out.
Yep.
All right, what up, Coach? This Triple Threat D. I want to say congratulations for succeeding in your career on and off the court. And I think it's super cool and honorable that you got a program helping young players succeed in their basketball career and becoming productive adults. My question is, you went on to play college basketball at Goshen College and had a strong career there as a shooting guard. What were some of the biggest lessons you learned during your time as a student athlete and that still stick with you today?
I think there's two really big ones. The first one that I learned on the court was like the minimum's not going to get it done. It's not.
Most definitely, for sure.
So my freshman year, I struggled. You know, coming out of Westville South, I shot the ball really well. You know, during my whole varsity career, so my sophomore through my senior year, like I shot 50% from the 3-point line, and like I got to college, and I started the first 10 games, and then out of those first 10 games, I probably played well 3 out of those 10, right? And I got benched for the next 21 games. And it was tough. Like, it was just one of those things where, at the end of the season, like, I was really questioning if I could play at that level. And Eric McCullum, you guys know CJ McCullum?
CJ McCullum.
Yeah,
So
for sure.
I played with his older brother at Goshen. So his
Okay.
older brother is 3-time All-American. He scored like 2,700 points in college. Like, it was ridiculous. And but I remember, after the season was over, we had postseason practices. I'm walking out of the gym, and Eric's yelling at me like, "Hey, Pope, like, where you going?" I'm like, "Man, I'm going to the cafeteria. Like, I got to eat. Cafeteria's gonna close." And he was like, "Nah, you're gonna stay here with me." I'm like, "Well, what? We just got done with a 2-hour practice." He's like, "We're gonna stay here and we're going to shoot. Like, we're gonna make extra shots, right?" And like we got into like it was just a routine where it was like we have 2-hour practice, and then we're gonna stay. We're gonna make an extra 200, 250 shots, or whatever it was, right? And then it was just like do extra, do extra. We're gonna stay. We're gonna either get there early or we're gonna stay there late, which he was doing both, right? And so like my sophomore year, going to my sophomore year, I kept that same habit, and I shot lights out my sophomore year. Right, that's probably the best I've ever shot a basketball in my life was my sophomore year, and that was the first year that they moved the college line back. So, like when I first got to college, that's how old I am. When I first got to college, the college line was the same distance as the high school line. So my sophomore year, they moved it back, and I just because I put that extra work in. So that's one thing that I learned. It's like this needs to be done, but that's not going to be enough. Like we got to go the extra mile to make sure that we reach the goals that we want to reach. The other thing is that I think Goshen does an incredible job with all their students, not just the student athletes, is talking about how your professional life should lead into your service life. All right, so it's a small Christian school, mainly Mennonites, and like they're really big on service. And so they preach a lot like, okay, this is your interest and this is what you want your career to be about. But while you're earning money, how can you change other people's lives? How can you improve other people's lives? So, going into college as a freshman, all I wanted to do was study sports. And as long as I graduated and got a job that was making a lot of money, like I thought I was going to be happy, which was not the case. And so like they changed my mind by the time I was graduating. It was like, yes, I need money to live and, provide for my family and all that type of stuff. But how am I going to change? How am I going to affect other people's lives? So Goshen does an incredible job with that. They have a lot of alumni. Like I can't tell you like any of my teammates, my friends out at Goshen College that don't live like that. Like they're all making an impact in their community through their passions, through their careers and everything. Like it's an incredible school.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Hey, before you take it over, Trey.
Go ahead, JG.
Yeah, before you take it over, Trey. Yeah. Hey, Coach Poe, I got one question. It was interesting to hear that you came in the era when they pushed back the perimeter line. Man, when that happened, did you have to make any changes with your release and all of that, your jumper and all of that? Did it impact you different?
It actually happened at a perfect time because I changed my release and everything when I got to college because I to be completely honest with you, I wasn't ready for college basketball when I got there. the game was too fast. Everybody was big. Everybody was strong. Like I struggled. Like I for real struggled. So what happened was like for me to try to adjust to it, I changed my jump shot and it was awful. So after my freshman year, I had to relearn how to shoot a basketball. So like from scratch. But one of the best things that happened to me, I was just telling this to a kid the other day, because I was like really using my thumb to shoot. Like I was flicking this, it was bad, and I had to get back to just walling off and shooting here with one hand. I had I had some kind of skin disease here on my wrist. I had to have surgery on my wrist, so I was like in a little soft cast, but I couldn't move my wrist at all. So I was going around on the court just shooting one handed. So like I had to I got it back into the feeling of just shooting one handed because I had a cast.
Crazy.
So like all that to say, like it really didn't bother me as much because I had to relearn how to shoot a basketball anyways. Now,
okay.
I think one thing that kids now have to adjust to, since I'm helping kids adjust to the college game, is that like you just have to utilize your legs more. And it really shouldn't affect your upper body, but your legs and your feet, the way that you shoot, that's what it affects. That what is it, a foot and a half difference does make a difference. So like in the arc that you shoot the ball with, like you can't have no flat jump shot and be a good college shooter. Like it's not possible. Like the line's too far. But yeah, it does.
Oh, that's crazy.
Yeah.
Man, that was insightful. Man, thanks
Beautiful.
for that. Thanks for
That was beautiful insight, man. I loved it, man.
Yeah, gift and a curse in the same breath.
What's up?
I said a gift, in turmoil, when you're going through something,
Exactly.
you always got to look at the brighter side, and you made a lemonade out of lemons.
Yeah.
Most definitely.
For sure.
Yeah, coach, man. Hey, man, I hear the passion, the dedication, man, and I just definitely want to salute what you got going on, man, giving back to the community and these kids, man, because, hey, it's motivating me, man, just hearing your story, man, made me want to get out there and shoot a jumper, you feel me? You know what I'm saying? But not for real, but yeah, man, and but we can keep it rolling, man. You're definitely the founder of, Next Level Skills Basketball Academy, where you developing young kids on and off the court. So my question is pretty much, man, how does that correlate with the All-Star game you got coming up on April 4th? What is the mission, between what is the mission between that and the All-Star game?
Yeah, so the All-Star game is first of all, it's a celebration. When I was just on the phone with one of my boys, he's a Division I assistant coach, and we were talking about some of the players coming out of Nashville, and I was trying to get him to look at some players. And he was like, "Why have I not heard of any of these kids?" And pretty much like Nashville's not looked at as a basketball city. We talk about basketball cities in Tennessee, we talk about Memphis. Right?
Yes.
Like Nashville is a football and a soccer city, baseball city. Right?
Even Knoxville's before.
What's up?
Even Knoxville's before us.
100%.
Yeah.
And and it's just not viewed as that. So like this event is a celebration. It's a showcase of what we have, of the kids that are coming out of this city. The other thing is, the event is ran by the student athletes in our program. So like when you come to the event, you're gonna see a bunch of teenagers running everything.
Okay.
You'll see me and my staff managing them, but it's all the kids running everything, and not the refs. Don't get me the refs are gonna be refs.
Okay. Well, hold on. Some of them kids too, but that's another topic, right?
We're gonna jump on a whole other show for that.
Right.
But like when you walk up to the door, you're gonna see kids welcoming you. scanning the tickets, taking the cash. Like you're gonna see kids running the score table, doing the stats. You're gonna see the kids changing the events. You know, the ball racks for the 3-point shootout, the table. Like it's all teenagers, all from 8th grade. Excuse me, from 8th grade through freshman, sophomore in college. You're going to be running this. So like this is like some experience for them as well of event management, working together as a team and stuff like that. I also offer, which probably about 50% of the players have taken advantage of it, but for all the players that play in the game, I always offer for them to come to our college survival class. We do a college survival class in the beginning of August before they go to college. It's about 2.5, 3 hour class, and we just go through the dangers of freshman year, you know, and especially for student athletes. You know, you could turn on ESPN, you know, pretty much any time you hear about athletes getting in trouble, you know, getting kicked out of school, whatever it is. So, you know, we take the time to really talk about and really plan for everything that can go wrong in college. We spend a good 45 minutes, an hour just on time management, you know, and understanding all the responsibilities of a student athlete in college, you know, and it's not just, hey, you know, I get up, I go to class, you know, I got practice in the afternoon, then I go back and do this. Like, it's not high school anymore. Like, especially for hoopers, like we got 5 a.m., 6 a.m. conditioning. You know, we there for an hour and a half, and then you got to take a shower and then be in 8 a.m. class, right? Then you got to get to, you know, you go to the class, you know, then you got individual workouts or, you know, position workouts with coach. You got to get back to the gym. Then you got to go back to classes, right? And then you got to, and then you got to find time to go spend with the trainer to do injury prevention, right? And then, you know, then you got study table and you got this. You still got to go back for actual practice.
Yes.
And then, you know, then you got to go back and you got to study, you got to do your homework, you got to do all this stuff, and then be back at condition at 6 a.m. in the morning again. And you got to handle all of this. 26% of student athletes get kicked out of school or drop out of school before the end of their freshman year, and majority of them are black men.
Wow.
Majority of them come from basketball and football.
Wow. Okay.
A lot of the times, you know, as black men, like we've killed everything our whole lives, like, and then we get a scholarship. We're like, we'll just do the same thing at the college level. Like, I really don't have to worry about studying. I really need to study in high school. I still got good grades, and like, that doesn't fly anymore. The more that we can prepare them for everything like that, and give them a support system around them, you know, and to help them get through that freshman year. Once they get through freshman year, they're usually good. It's just the challenge of freshman year is the big thing. So we always invite players to come to that for our program, and that's a completely free program. Usually Edley's sponsors it. They donate food every single year because the kids got to eat while we're in there for 3 hours talking. But yeah,
absolutely.
Yeah.
Okay. Absolutely. So so it's safe to say, you know, Next Level Skills Basketball Academy getting you ready for the next level.
Exactly. And then when you're in college, once you're in college, we help you get ready for a professional life, right?
That's what. Okay. Yeah.
I mean, our kids are graduating with bachelor degrees. We have a 95% bachelor degree efficiency. 100% of our graduates are finding full-time work within 6 months of graduation. I got players with families now that are married, full-time jobs, doing well. So like it's a whole progression of, you know, what do you need? You know, I got players stopping by the gym with their kids just to say what's up at times. What's up, coach?
Love it.
Yeah.
Relationships is everything.
Exactly.
Shout out to Next Level.
Shout out to Next Level. Shout out to Next Level.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Coach Pope, so my question is, when athletes come through Next Level Skills Academy, what's the biggest difference you want them to feel compared to like a typical basketball training program?
Yeah, the biggest thing is we care more about you off the court than we do on the court.
Wow.
Like that's like, of course you come to us and we want to make you the best basketball player possible.
Typical.
But yeah, I mean, we care more about you as a young man, young woman off the court than we do as a hooper. You know, the conversations that we have, you know, the programming that we have for our players, it's different. You know, the way that we run our business is different. You know, we do a business mentoring class for trainers that are just starting their businesses, and they come in. You know, we teach for 5 different categories, and when I'm teaching through the categories, a lot of the times they're like, "Man, I never even thought about like anything like this before." Like it's a full on business, but the way that it's like a full on business, like it's built like that for the experience that families have. And I always tell my staff, like, we're responsible for the experience of our players and their parents from the time their foot hits outside of that car. And we're responsible all the way from the time that their car leaves our parking lot. We have core values that we stand behind, like everything. Like the number one thing that we focus on as a staff is hospitality. And it's not combo moves and jump shots, like it's hospitality.
Okay.
From the time you get out of your car, how do they feel? You know, do they feel welcome? Do they feel like this is a safe space for their kids? You know, a lot of these kids that come through the door, through any gym door, most likely they're not going to play in college. You know, only 6% of players get to play in college. You know, only 3% get scholarships. Like, would we rather cater to 6% of our clientele, or would we rather cater to 100% of them? And if we can cater to 100% of them and how they feel, right, and we can give them something they can leave with every day, that's not just basketball, but it's educational, it's life-wise, it's community-based, like that's what we want to do.
Yes.
Like I tell my staff all the time, if we have a kid that comes in and shoots 100 shots and they miss 99 of them, they should still be leaving out of our gym with a smile on their face, because they should feel like they left with something. All right. So yeah, it's much more than basketball.
Yeah, good character, man. For sure. I always believe in that too. That instilling good character in these student athletes prevails over any kind of competitive level, any kind of training, any kind of fundamentals. You can get a mid tier player on your team who, you know, probably come off as a 6-man or something, but at the end of the day, he got great character, and that's the predominant reason why he's on your team.
Exactly.
Yes.
Exactly.
Yeah. Yeah. It carries you.
100%.
And I will say, Coach, I can definitely tell the confidence that you have in your program, because you know what to expect, and you also, you know, I'm pretty sure you can tell your staff, hey, we expect this, but we make sure this happens first.
Exactly.
We always treat them like people first.
Exactly. In my staff, except for one, I have 5 people on my staff. 4 out of the 5 went through my program since they were sophomores in high school. So they all went through the program on and off the court. They all played in college. They all graduated. They all got jobs. And now they're like, hey, we got something from this program. Now we want to give it back. Like they all, and I only hire my alum. Like I've had people call me, like, Coach, are you hiring? I'm like, no, not unless you go through my program.
Oh, a little long. I like that though, Coach. I like that. That's man. Give it up for Coach again for that, man. That's amazing. Man. People that's coming back, pouring back into the program. I mean, I think that's amazing.
No, they're incredible. I'm telling you before, like I only hire 20-year-olds. Like I'm hiring straight out of college. Like I have a list of, you know, of players that we're working with. I'm like, I think I could hire them, you know, in the future. Like that's what we're looking for, and you know, they're going to get the most out of this experience, and I know they'll give it back. You know, now they're incredible.
Yeah, absolutely.
Wonderful. Now let's get into this All-Star game, Coach.
Yeah.
So I think you've been dropping a couple of names. You know, you got some heavy hitters in the building, man.
Yeah.
My boy, hey, Trey Pearson.
Hey, he bored.
Hey,
Nephew.
Man.
come on, Chris Washington Jr.
Yeah, Mr. Basketball.
Champ.
Mm-hmm.
Big Ed.
My dog.
Yeah.
Come on now. So, do you have a favorite, or are you just biased of anybody who could be the MVP?
I don't have a favorite. The thing is, like every year, it's just it's different. Like there's no like my wife gets mad at me because I'm a big pattern recognition person. I mean, I think most coaches are. But like there's no pattern, like there's no rhyme or reason to the MVPs. It's really just like who really gets hot, you know?
Yeah.
Right.
And having this caliber of game of these players, like literally anybody can get hot, you know? So like I don't know. I ran into James Davis from Maplewood. And he was in our gym. What's today? Today's Friday.
Yes, sir.
He was in our gym yesterday. It was the first time I ever spoke face to face with him. He lit up my team a few times. Was not happy with him when I was coaching at Ballard. But I walked out of the office and I walked into the gym to go make sure like the group that was in there was all situated and had everything. And I looked in. I was like, oh, we go James. I'll say what's up to him. Kind of pulled him to the side. It was like, hey, what's up? You know, I'm Coach Pope. You need anything, just let me know. And he was like, man, I'm so excited. And one thing I told him, I said, look, man, I said, everybody's talking about how loaded the private school team is. And he was like, I'm already knowing. I'm like, you boys going to be able to put up a fight? He was like, man, we coming. He was like,
okay.
He was like,
Okay.
Maplewood. Shout out to Maplewood.
Yeah, you know, Maplewood got some dogs.
Even the girls though, they got Jordan Brown.
Yeah.
Yeah, man, she hooping. I know her dad.
Oh,
yeah, she hooping.
Jordan get hooping. She's playing in the girls' game.
Man, I can't wait.
I've seen her get hot, you know. And it's just like you don't know Lily out of Page. She can get really hot. She's going to UT Martin. You guys
Okay.
At Cicely at Franklin. She signed to Missouri. You know, I was talking to her dad. Her dad said she had 25 offers.
Wow.
Before signing to Missouri.
Mizzou, the SEC.
Yeah.
Okay.
You know, you got Bree Price has been committed.
Yeah, out of Ezel. Yeah, shout out to Ezel, man. Shout out to Ezel. We know about Ezel for sure.
Man, Bree nice. So, like, the first time we had a girls' game, I think so. Bree was a freshman, and we needed extra girls for practice so they could run 5-on-5. And Coach Gabe out of Ezel brought Bree, and he texted me, he was like, "Hey, is it cool if we bring a freshman to scrimmage?" I was like, "I don't know. These top girls in the city. You bringing a freshman?" He was like, "I think she can hang." I was watching practice. I'm like, "Who is this girl?"
Man, that's
like she was going crazy against all these seniors that are about to play in college. So it was Bree Price, you know.
Okay.
So now she's a senior, but we got players.
You got Nora Jameson too out of Ainsworth. Nori there too. Yeah, hey, she we seen her get hot as well.
Man, Nori, every single player, like you can't really
it's an all-star lineup for sure.
Yeah,
for sure.
Yeah,
for sure. It's the right name. It's fitting.
Man.
Yeah. Now I will say, when Mr. Basketball has usually been towards the top of consideration for MVP. So Kavion Jones 2 years ago won MVP. Last year was Jaden Jones. He didn't win MVP, but he was up there. So they usually have a good shot at it.
Okay.
Sound like you went to his Prince.
But Kavion was just such a big body where he could just move anybody he wanted to. Like he just went crazy in the second half. So you never know. You never know. There's the kid Jackson from Brentwood. The kid hit 12 threes in one game.
12. Oh wow.
I got
Still
I
5
got the
games.
film. Like it's unbelievable. Majority half of the threes were from the volleyball line.
Wow, he
He
just
definitely
pulling.
scored. Yeah.
Whoa.
And it wasn't like he shot like 30 threes. Like he shot 12. I think he might have, or he made 12. He might have shot like 16, 17 of them.
Man, that's so efficient. That's crazy.
And like you just don't
That's
know.
Coach
crazy,
Hype.
This
man.
kid just
You hyping me up, coach.
you just don't know. Like me, so I make the girls rosters. Andrew Forrest from Prep Hoops makes the boys rosters
Okay.
because he does all the rankings all through the whole state for all the players, and so I hire him to do that. And we were on the phone last week, and he was like, "I think this is the most loaded rosters we've ever had. Like, it's not even close to the last few years. Like we had some heavy hitters before, but this roster is just like from top to bottom is crazy."
Yeah. I mean, how you feel about that? Do you feel like the program is expanding based on the type of athletes you're getting now at the program?
What you mean, like the players that we're training?
Yeah, I mean, as far as the All-Star game, it's just since you said it's a stack roster, are you just thinking more? Is it more eyes on the program now on the game?
Yeah, I think so.
Okay.
It's like more and more people are seeing it, right? And we keep getting a lot more views on social media from the dunk contest and the highlights from the games and all that type of stuff. Like it keeps getting bigger and bigger and bigger. But like now, like from the first year we ran it, of course nobody knew what was going on. Like we were just but we had Malik Dia played in it. Eli Rice played in it. We had these players playing in the game, and everybody was kind of like, "Oh, what's this thing?" And and it went well. But the first time you do something, like you gotta figure out the mistakes that you guys made. So that second year, it was like, okay, here's the mistakes we made. Let's do this. But like now, some people kind of saw, what it was. I was able to send footage out to people and say, "Hey, we got this event. Here's the mixtape from last year." And they could see it was like, "Oh, there goes Malik. He's playing at Vanderbilt now," and all that type of stuff. Now people are kind of like, "Oh, that looks like fun. Like I'll do that." So that second year, we did the dunk contest and 3-point shootout. We introduced the girls' game and all that type of stuff, and then more footage. So that next year, I'm able to reach out to people like, "Hey, here's the footage from last year. Do you want to be a part of this?" Right now, when we're in our 5th year, now we got kids saying, "Hey, I saw this my freshman year. I was hoping I could play in this when I was a senior."
Yeah, let's go.
Build up. So now, like people know.
Yes.
Like, last year, who was it? We had some JP2 players playing in it, and and I've known Trey. I've known Trey Pearson since he was in 8th grade because his dad was on my coaching staff at Valor. And he would bring Trey to some of the preseason open gyms. Trey's an 8th grader tearing up my varsity team.
Wow.
Like going crazy.
Shout out to Trey.
Man, Trey.
That's the Trey I know.
Yeah.
Yes, sir.
Right, exactly.
So Trey,
the TP show.
Man. So Trey sitting in the crowd last year, watching the game. So I go over to him like, "Hey, you playing next year?" He's like, "I'm in." He's like, "Count me in." So I'm like, I'm gonna hold you. I'm gonna hold you to that.
Absolutely.
Yeah, exactly.
Right. So even Jalen Jones was like that. Jalen Jones was at the game watching some of the East players, before he was a senior. I'll go over to Jalen. I'm like, "What's up? Like, you still wanna play?" He was not in the play until Iverson Classic called him the week before the event. And he hit me. Was like, "Hey, Iverson called me." I was like, "You got to go to Iverson."
Okay.
Yeah.
But like it's getting that recognition.
Yes.
So I think that's why it's getting bigger and bigger, and these types of players do want to play in it because they're at least seeing some clips of it. It's like, hey, what, kind of getting curious about what it is.
You ain't never had Lawson Gillespie in your dunk contest out of BGA?
Ooh,
Number 10?
Yeah.
Man, the Lob King, man.
I know Lawson. Lawson used to train with us.
For real, man. I wouldn't mind seeing that boy in the dunk contest.
Lawson used to train with us. Yeah, Lawson. So Lawson was on our watch list, and we were kind of getting to that point. And we had a few spots left. We were trying to close out, and Chris Washington texted me. So Chris was a late ad. So Chris was one of the first players we went after. We couldn't get a hold of him. And then so we had a promo shoot at our gym, and so Nick Anderson came through. So Nick Anderson and Peyton Applegate. So they came through, and we were kind of just talking. And then the very next day, Chris texted me, or Nick texted me. It was like, "Hey, Chris wants to play. Can Chris play?" So I'm like, yes. Like, what you mean?
Right.
Chris. So Chris took one of those spots that we were looking to fill with, another private school player. Chris kind of shut that down, but yeah, Lawson bouncy. I remember when Lawson was like still trying to dunk after workouts, and like he just wasn't quite there yet. Now that boy bouncy.
Yes,
yeah, he can absolutely hoop. Yeah.
Sir.
Hey, I'm looking forward, very excited, looking forward going to this All-Star game. It's a very innovative idea. You're bringing together some of Nashville's top high school seniors for the next level skills All-Star game. What inspired you to create an event that showcased talent from both public and private schools in one place?
So I actually kind of took the idea from something that happens in Columbus. What happened in Columbus? I don't know if they still do it the same way. I know they have an All-Star game. But growing up, so in Columbus, there's a big divide between what they call the OCC, so the Ohio Capital Conference. So we have conferences in Ohio, not districts. And so the OCC is like all the suburban schools, so outside of Columbus, right? So
Okay.
and then you have the City League, which is all the public Columbus schools. So like kind of equivalent to the
hood
metro
versus
school.
the suburban.
Yeah. So like there was always a big argument like who has the better players. The suburban schools because they have more of the resources. They have a lot more development. They just more resources, really, right?
Yeah, just sum it up. Yeah, more resources.
It's
Yeah.
like, but the inner city schools, those are the hungry players. Those are the dogs. Those are the ones that like this is their way out, right? So like there was always an argument of who was better, right? And like, I went to an OCC school. Westerville is outside of Columbus, right? So like we would always play a few public school teams, city league teams, throughout the season. I can tell you right now, we ain't never lose to a city league team. Never. Never.
Balling. Balling.
And I played AAU one summer before my senior year, and the person that put together the team put together half OCC, half city league, right? And like on those rides to tournaments and stuff like that, man, we was in there talking cash, right? And like,
Of course.
and I was in there talking because I ain't never lose to a city league team. So like all that to say, like I moved here to Nashville 12, 13 years ago, and you start learning about the city and different schools and all that type of stuff. And the same arguments are happening between the public schools and the private schools, right? And
Okay.
so like now, like I'm in workouts, and I'm having players arguing with each other about this school's better than this school, and it's like, but we don't know because they never play each other, right? Or we have this player is better than this player, but we don't know. They never play each other, right? So like it was like so I was having a conversation with somebody. It was like, you ever thought about putting together an all-star game? Like, man, that sounds like a lot of work. I don't know if I want to do something like that. And
Okay.
and then just kind of got to that point where it was just like, you know what? I'm just gonna do it and see what happens. And the first year we were supposed to do it, check this out. The first year we were supposed to do it was 2020.
COVID.
Okay.
And we had it all set up. We started setting it up in 2019, and we had everything set up. man, the marquee matchup that everybody was excited about was Will Pruitt versus Chaz Lanier.
Okay.
And we were like everybody. Chaz was killing it at Innsworth.
Okay.
Will was over at Mount Juliet, and they were on track to win a state championship.
Okay.
Those were the two. Will was going to Lipscomb, and Chaz was going to the North Florida when they were going to keep playing in college and all this type of stuff.
Okay.
And Chaz ended up at UT, then getting drafted by the Pistons, and Will's having a great rookie season overseas. I forgot what country he's in, but like that was
okay.
That was supposed to go crazy. But we ended up setting everything up. Everything was ready to go, and then COVID shut it down. I was like, I did all this work for nothing. And then so 2021 came around, and then I was like, I don't know if I want to do all that work. I'm like, COVID's still lingering too, so I kind of skipped 21. And then my staff kind of brought it back up, like we're gonna do the All-Star game again, 22, and get this kind of started up. So,
Yeah.
Yeah, and then it just grew into what it is now. So yeah.
Okay.
Hey,
go ahead, D. Go ahead, D.
Hey, who won the All-Star game last year between the boys and the girls, and who won the 3-point contest and the dunk contest? And the 3-point contest is you got a 3-point for the boys and the girls, or they all mixed together?
Oh, so the 3-point contest, we have a girls 3-point contest, then we have a boys 3-point contest, and the winners of each shoot against each other. For like
that's hard.
It's an NBA like that, right? NBA do it like that.
Like that one of the years, yeah.
Yeah, they did like that one of the years. Yeah, I remember that.
Before the NBA did it. Let's just put that out there.
Shout out to Coach. Shout out to Coach T, man. Shout out to Coach, man.
I like the co-ed. I like the co-ed idea, man.
Yeah, it's man. A few years ago, Addison Melton, she was at Lipscomb. She's transferring out now, but I think that was 2 years ago. Do you guys know who Rocco Lamanu is? He played at Ravenwood. The boy, nice. Like he's a sophomore in college. He's leading their conference in scoring, steals, something else.
Where he play? Where he play?
Spring Hill College.
Spring Hill.
Yeah,
okay.
Spring Hill. I think it's down in Alabama. Boy, nice though. But they were in the 3-point shootout, and they went through, tied the first round, and then Rocco went first in that second round, like for the tiebreaker, and like he put up some crazy number where everybody was like, "Okay, this is done." Addison went around and missed one shot, and like the one shot he missed was in the 4th rack. Like it was unbelievable.
Oh, got time.
So like. Yeah, it was absolutely crazy. So like I keep telling like the guys, they're like, yeah, I'm gonna do a 3-point shootout, and it was like, yeah, we're gonna whoever comes out the girls' side, we'll smack her. I'm like, nah, like you never like
never know.
Girls, like they can absolutely shoot the ball because one thing like I explained to guys, like guys can hide their weaknesses behind their athleticism. Right? If you can't do something, you can just jump higher or run faster, right?
Yeah.
Girls, majority of girls don't have that ability, so they have to hone in on their skills. Skills have to be much sharper. They have to pay attention to details. Like the way that girls screen is so much more detailed than the way that boys screen, right? And the way that they pass is much more detailed than the way that boys pass. Passing, boys will pick up the ball and throw a one-hand pass and do this, all that type of stuff. Girls are gonna stop on 2. They're gonna pass fake.
Fundamentals.
Exactly, right?
Fundamentals.
They're not gonna make as many mistakes, right? So when it comes to shooting a basketball, they will get that thing down to a science because they're not gonna be able to pump fake, take one dribble, and take off on somebody. You know what I'm saying? So, like, when we get girls into the 3-point shootout, they be focused.
Zoned in.
Yeah.
Hey, but Jerry, she won.
Yeah.
And the Clay Shirley.
We seen a lot of shooting for sure.
Yeah, for sure. All right, so last year the public school girls won. And I think they won pretty well.
The public girls.
Public girls, yeah.
Yeah.
They won
Public
last
girls.
year. Public girls been winning.
Okay.
Public girls are up 2-1.
Okay.
And then on the boys' side, private schools up 3-1 on public.
Boys.
Yeah, the boys. So private school
Okay.
won last year. I think they ended up winning. I forgot the exact score, but like it wasn't like bad, but it also like wasn't super close.
Yeah, they kind of just took off.
Yeah. So like
Okay.
they've been, and one thing that we do too, like when you get there, like there's no clock in the fourth quarter. We play Elam Ending. So you guys know what Elam Ending
No
is?
clock in the fourth quarter.
There's no clock in the fourth quarter. So what we do is
Hold on, tell me more.
we set a target score. So say for example, at the end of the third quarter, let's say, like say the score is like 70-65 or something like that, right? We'll say first team to 95 wins, right? So now it turns into a pickup game, right? So like, so there's no fouling at the end of the game. There's no more draining the clock. Like, you got to hoop to win, right? So no matter what your score is, like you got to go. So what happens a lot of the time? So what happened 2 years ago? What happened 2 years ago was for the girls' game, the private school team was up going into the fourth quarter. They were up by like 7 or 8 or something like that, right? Which in a regular game, you got 7 or 8, you might start running some offense and passing the ball around again.
Oh, the merry-go-round. We call it the merry-go-round. Round and round and round. Yeah, we know.
That out. So they started hooping, but they got cold and public school started getting hot. So it came down to the point where it was like next bucket won. And so we went back and forth, and then public school girls end up getting a steal. They end up getting a steal from East. She gets down, she pushes that ball out in front of everybody, ends up finishing the layup. They won the game. Public school's going crazy because they was down like 18 at one point. And
that goes crazy.
So like, but it guarantees that there's a game-winning bucket, no matter what the score is. Like, but in a pickup game, you're like, no matter how much you down by, the other team got game point. Like you sit down, right? Nah, let's go. Like now they ain't scoring, right? And we don't allow the game to end on a free throw. So like, if you get into the paint, you gotta take it out on the side.
That's hard.
You gotta earn game point.
I'm like, hey, coach, we might need to take that up to the state, man. We, because, before we get out of here, I do want to, because, man, you definitely just sparked, man, a question, man. How you feel about the no shot clock, man? I need to know. I gotta know. I need to know. I gotta know. One more time. I need to know. I gotta know.
I got a feeling on how you feel.
How you feel about the no shot clock? Because I like how you got the fourth quarter set up. Yeah. I know.
The high school for sure needs a shot clock. There's a number of states on the East Coast that do have a shot clock. But the thing is, I personally don't think it's ever going to happen in Tennessee. And the reason behind it is if one school has a shot clock, every school needs a shot clock.
Yes.
And
right.
The budget's not there. Everything always comes down to money, right? When it comes to schools, everything comes down to money. When you look at districts, different districts throughout the whole state of Tennessee, right? Of course, there's going to be some that do have the money. You look at Williamson County, they're going to have the money, right?
Of course.
Yes.
Does Metro Nashville have the money to install?
There's a county
to give to every school in the district.
Every school, right.
To install the shot, to buy the shot clocks, to install the shot clocks. And this is the thing. Every school needs to add to their budget because you have to now pay another referee to run the shot clock.
Man.
Hold on, coach. So you mean to tell me we can't get a student athlete to run a shot clock?
It's part of,
no,
it's
sir.
Part of it's actual part of the.
It's got to be TSSAA.
Exactly.
Okay.
Standard rule and that's just from what I've heard in meetings, being in ref meetings and coaches bringing it up and stuff like that. That's what they tell. That's what TSSAA referees and all that type of stuff. That's what they tell us. So like.
Okay.
I mean, I'm not in that circle anymore. I'm not coaching anymore. But like, that was just always the thing. Like, some counties are going to have the money. Some counties aren't going to have the money. but everybody's gonna have,
Absolutely.
if one does it, everybody's got to do it. So like that's gonna be a hard thing for Tennessee because like there's so many parts of the state where there's
Yeah.
have-nots, and there's so many parts of the state that has a lot more than everybody else, right? But there's no like this
As a collective whole.
exactly like when you look at states like Massachusetts, like they're not as it's not that big of a divide, right?
Yeah.
So like that's just
Okay.
where that kind of is. States like New Jersey and stuff like that. Like I'm pretty sure those two. I think those are two of the states that have shot clocks.
Georgia got it too.
Do they?
Mm-hmm.
I didn't know Georgia did, but like
Yeah.
that's always the issue. But it's got to be like it drives me nuts to see a team sit there and hold the ball for 2 minutes.
Man.
So Coach Pope, since we on this, hold on, I got another question, man, pertaining to that. So, you know, I just want your perspective in it as far as player development. Oh, for instance, we don't have the shot clock here. Player goes to the next level, goes to NCAA. NCAA shot clock, what, like 35 seconds?
I think 30.
Oh,
Maybe 30, I believe.
30 or 35, something like that. Do you think that is sort of a developmental issue? Like you went through all of youth basketball, middle school, high school, no shot clock, going up to the collegiate level where you have to play through a shot clock. Do you think that like that'll cause any developmental issue or any inaccuracies in their urgency?
Yeah, for sure, for sure. It for sure takes adjustment. And just understand, especially if you're one of those teams where coach is like, look, and I'm not gonna sit here and lie to you guys and say I haven't done it. Like I'm trying to win.
Trying to
I'm
win.
trying to win.
I'm trying to
My
win.
advantage if I got it. But like, if you're in one of those
Okay.
teams where it's like, hey, there's no shot clock, there's no reason to force a shot. Like,
Right.
and you know, you repeatedly do that when you get up to college and you're just like, hey, let me make this one more pass, but that one more pass ain't there, and now we gotta try to get an advantage again. And it's just
Exactly.
running, and you just like, and then you know you're just playing, and then you're
Right.
coach yelling,
That's you.
shoot the ball, or people start trying
Right,
to
because you added more possessions than what you used to.
yeah, like
Mhm.
it's for sure an adjustment. I don't think it's too hard of an adjustment, personally, but it is an adjustment. Right. Now, me personally, like the team that I played with in college, we were a running gun team. Like we was getting the ball down the court fast, and we was taking shots. Right. So, but like, you know, depending on the system that you play in college, like for example, like Taylor University. You guys ever seen the Silent Night game? That's on ESPN. Where like
Yeah. No Silent Night.
yeah, so they were in our conference in college. So we played in Taylor all the time. And
Okay.
but when I was in school, they're not like this anymore. But when I was in school, they had a super like old school coach, and they would run the flex offense, the whole shot clock, and they wouldn't shoot a shot unless they were within 7 seconds of the shot clock going off. It would
Wow.
drive teams in our conference crazy because they would really minimize the amount of possessions you have.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Right.
But like you play in that system, like you for sure got to be aware of what the shot clock is, right? So like it really just depends what you're going into, but yeah, it's an adjustment. Now I think the biggest thing that TSSAA is not doing good with, that a lot of kids are struggling with when they get to college, is the way that the refs are calling hand checks. The way that that refs like here in Tennessee, you know, it's you know, you got to put your hands up, right? You're guarding, like you can't touch at all. You can't put your hand out, you know, touch their chest or nothing, right?
Yeah.
And it's like as soon as you know you touch or you kind of give a little bit of resistance, it's a blocking foul immediately, right? Where when you get into college, like you can jab, like you can hit that player in their shoulder, in their chest, right? And you can hit, you can back up, you know, you can hand check a little bit and get away with it. And then like you get to college and people hitting you, you're like, man, the last 4 years, this was a foul. Like, nah, this is at the college level. So like in Ohio, like we were able to play that physical defense in high school. So, you know, that contact thing in college wasn't a big deal. until somebody that's 6'10" hits you. Now that's a big deal, right? But
Yeah, for sure.
when you're sitting down and all that type of stuff, the hand checks, that doesn't bother you. But here in Tennessee, they don't allow you to do that. So I think that's the biggest adjustment that players have to make jumping from high school to college here in Tennessee.
Nah, coach, I ain't even gonna lie. You said you took advantage of the merry-go-round, so I gotta hit you with the.
Don't do it.
Yeah.
You trying to win, coach. You're trying to
What's the
win.
teams we did it against, though? You're gonna start hitting the clapping against the Merrill High.
Facts.
Yeah, against Merrill Hyde up in the whole county that the refs were screwing us all game. Like it was like, okay, y'all want to play?
Like we finna win. We finna get this win by any means.
Right.
Yeah.
Almost there for coach, man. Before we get out of here, coach, man. I just want to do something a little different, man. I want you to give a drop for the people and tell them why they should come to the All-Star game April 4th.
It's a community event. It's a family fun community event that you can go and not just be entertained, but be with the city. People from all over the cities are coming. We got players from Spring Hill, from Franklin, from Hendersonville, from Metro Nashville, from Antioch, from just all over the place. Like this just isn't North Side Nashville type thing. This isn't a South Side Nashville thing. This is a Middle Tennessee thing. We're celebrating the young men, the young women, that are bringing attention to the city. And it's fun. And like, some of these players, this would be your last opportunity to be this close to them with paying $15. If you're going to want to go see Chris Washington play next year, you're going to have to at least drop $50-$60 for one ticket.
For sure.
I think he just took a visit to UT. So like, you want to see Chris
I seen him on the plane.
Yeah, you want to see him hoop for $15. This is your last chance. You want to see Trey Pearson play one last time before you're going to have to drop some money on a ticket, before he heads out to Carolina. Like,
High point.
Yeah, like you're going to have to, like, this is your time to see that. We'll have vendors there. We're going to have food. We got a DJ, that spins the whole time. It's not a quiet gym.
Yep.
We got music playing. Man, we got a halftime. This is our first time doing a halftime show. I don't know how it's going to go, but I'm kind of.
We seen that you got Black Wolves on the halftime show.
Okay.
You got TTS on the media.
Yeah. So, yeah, it's just a fun time to be with the city, to celebrate, be entertained, and a lot of the kids. If you got young kids, we had young kids after the game go and get autographs from the players before. You can't get to them before they're surrounded by security walking from the stadium to their bus.
Yes, sir.
So like, this is a good time, and even the high schoolers, like this is a good time to be around players that will be playing in college, so you can actually see what a college athlete looks like. Most of these kids don't even know. Like a lot of these kids are like, yeah, I'm gonna go play at Vanderbilt, and you 5'9", 5'10", like you about to see what a high major athlete look like.
Up close.
Exactly. You can go after the game. You can go approach them, talk to them, ask them some questions. Like these kids too. Like when we pick our rosters, these kids are good kids. We just don't be picking like the best hoopers. Like
character. Like we bring it back to character, right?
These are good kids, man. And like the way that they interact with people, the way that they respect people, like it's just like it's just an all around good environment for everybody. So like if you can come out the 4th and hang out, from 1 to 5 o'clock, and just enjoy the boys game, girls game, dunk contest, 3-point shootouts, some good food, some music. It's much more than basketball. This is a community thing.
Yeah, they good kids for sure. Most of them we done interviewed as well. So yeah, good character come a long way with them. Most of the kids that's coming to your event.
Yeah. No, this is a great group. We're really excited for this group.
Yes, sir, Coach. Man, we definitely appreciate you coming on the show, man.
Thanks for having me.
We love it. You know, shout out to everything you got going. Shout out to having us in the building. Hey, we definitely can't wait to come. This is gonna be exciting.
Yeah.
You know, and everybody watching, man, you know, definitely come out and support the next level skills All-Star game, April 4th. Is that the Baylor High School, right?
Yeah, Valor Collegiate Academy. Right off of Nolensville Pike. Close to the zoo.
That's what Valet.
Yeah.
Nolensville?
Mhm.
Okay.
Yeah. We in the city with it for
up the
sure.
street.
It's
Yeah.
our city.
Yeah.
It's our city, like he said.
Okay.
Valley to the sea, baby.
Yeah.
Okay. That's
Yes,
cool.
sir.
We wouldn't
Hey,
make sure we
Coach,
were
last
centrally located.
question.
What's up?
Oh, sorry. Repeat what you
I just
said.
want to make sure we were centrally located. So wherever you coming from, we meet right in the middle.
Right.
Yeah.
Good idea. Good
Yes,
idea.
sir. Hey, I don't know about these guys, but I know I need a food voucher. Hey, when I pull up,
Yeah, I know.
This guy always eats.
Hey,
Coach, I know.
Hey, you gonna catch Coach at that concession? You hear me?
Yeah, for sure.
oh,
Go catch Coach D at that concession.
We the city is providing the food. So
Are we the city?
Yeah.
Hey, We the City. Shout out to We the City, man.
Yeah,
Yeah,
okay.
for sure.
Yeah,
Shout out to We the City.
So-
they'll be
They got the clothing line and stuff. So, man, this is gonna be a pretty good event, man. I feel like it.
Yeah, I'm anticipating. it
Great for the
sure.
community.
yeah,
so.
it'd be fun. It'd be fun. But yeah,
Cool,
I appreciate
cool,
you
cool.
guys for having me on.
For
Thank you
sure,
guys for all the
man.
support.
Appreciate
Thank you guys for what you guys do for the city, for the kids. That's like giving them exposure is huge. That's one of the biggest questions we get from kids, from parents. Is like, how do we get exposure? You know, and people like you guys going to games and, you know, giving them a platform to speak, put highlights up and stuff like that. That makes a world of difference for athletes. You know, when coaches are looking, a lot of coaches spend a lot of time on social media. And, you know, when things pop
Yep.
up and they can see, okay, who is this kid? You know, listen to that kid speak, and you know that shines a huge light on these kids. So, you know, thank you guys for what you guys do.
Thank you, man.
I appreciate it, Coach. That's what we started it for.
Man.
Absolutely.
For sure.
And there we have it, ladies and gentlemen. Coach Pope. We appreciate you coming on. I'm Triple Threat Trade. That's Coach Daniel, JG, Triple Threat D.
Yes, sir.
Hey, before we get out of here, like, subscribe, share, please.
Yeah, you do that.
Yes, sir. Hey, see you at the game.
We'll see
We
you
out.
guys.
TTS.
Yeah,
Yes,
see you.
sir.